I will welcome back everyone to the Cypress Sports Show. I'm Jeff Russell here with Mark Slevcove. We got a super exciting show for you and a super exciting week as we're really deep into playoffs for all sports. Today we're going to welcome Brad Pickler as well, the most successful junior college softball coach, if not maybe even softball coach in California. We're going to discuss his secrets to all his success from South and his players. But first, before all of that, Coach, it is playoff time. We got a lot of great stuff going on. You got the scoop. What do we got?
Yeah, boys baseball, super fun game yesterday, second round against Servite. We got the W with the 5-2 ball game. So our team's headed to the Division I quarterfinals on Friday at home against Villa Park. So great game yesterday by the boys. Luke Matlock and then freshman Wyatt Rosales combined on the mound to hold Servite to 4 hits. Our senior catcher, Bren Wilkinson, had a big 2-run double in the second inning and a well-played game by the Centurions. So congratulations to Coach Weber and the boys, and good luck on Friday against Villa Park to them. Boys golf, big day on Monday for 3 Centurion golfers at the CIF Individual Regional Tournament out at Los Serranos. 115 golfers. Top 20 of them move on and advance to the CIF Individual Championships next week. And all 3 of our boys finished in the top 20 to move on and advance. So congrats to Daniel Hio, who shot a 2-under 70, and then Nathan Yu and my son Ryan Slevcove shot a 1-under 71 to move on and finish in the top 20. So well done, boys, and good luck next week in team championships and in the individual championships. Boys tennis. First round was last week in the playoffs, lost to Sunny Hills. Sunny Hills is a perennial power in tennis. So I know our boys will regroup under Coach Paul for next year and come back bigger and better. Track and field prelims for CIF were last Saturday. We had a lot of athletes qualify for CIF prelims, and the Division I meet is fast, and it's very difficult to advance into the finals. We had Flo in the shot put and discus. Anaya League was running the 100 and 200 relay teams. Mohammed Hasune and Ryan Rizzo ran the 100 and 200 on the boys' side. They all had good races, but not enough to advance to the finals. The only one that did was the guy all year who's been bringing it, Justin Singer. He advances in the mile. He ran a 4:16, and now he'll compete for a CIF championship on Saturday in the CIF finals. So good luck to Justin. In swim, Michaela Novak was our only CIF finalist last week. She finished 12th in the 200-yard freestyle, so she won a couple league titles in events and did pretty dang well at CIF. So congratulations, Michaela, on a successful senior year. And then our badminton team. Badminton goes under the radar, and then they get to the playoffs, and here we are. We're in the semifinals of the third level tournament. So the boys and girls have defeated Gar and Azusa, and they'll play in the semifinals at home on Thursday.
Hey, well, great stuff as always, Coach Slevcove. There's so much for us to be proud of as we continue the successful history here, Cypress Athletics. Speaking of successful history, today we're going to welcome Coach Brad Pickler, who knows a ton about successful seasons. A graduate of Savannah High School, graduate of Cal State Fullerton, been the head coach for Cypress College softball program for 36 years, has over 1,400 wins, 9 state championships. Coach Pickler, thanks for being here today.
My pleasure. Nice being with you guys.
Coach, when you've had this much success over the years, we know having players obviously helps when you have good players, but when you're recruiting kids, what are you looking for in the athletes that you bring to the program?
We're looking for players that are good teammates, maybe character players, players with a little bit of heart, and that really want to play the game. So when I go to high schools and talk to their coaches, the first thing I ask them is, how does this girl get along with her teammates? And then we'll probably get into her academics a little bit. How is she academically? And usually if we're out recruiting them, they're pretty good softball players, so we know they can play the game of softball. So we're trying to find out the other things. And the biggest thing is, do they really want to play, and are they good teammates?
Yeah, the good teammates part. We'll touch a little bit on that as we move on as well. And we hear things like, the game has changed or the players have changed over the years. And if that's true, the game or the players changing, how do you remain so consistent over your career with all the success you've had?
Yeah, the players have changed a little bit over the years. I think we've stayed consistent because we get them to buy into what we're doing over at Cypress College. We try to get kids that are a little bit motivated or self-motivated. And I don't think the players themselves have changed a lot. I think parents of players have changed a little bit. And a lot of them have been told for a long time that they're the best player all the time. They're an all-star. And then when it gets to college, they come and they have to come and they actually have to produce. We're trying to get the best players from all the different high schools, to meld together and be a cohesive unit. And they just have to be able to, when they get there, they have to be able to perform.
Yeah, we always say it's like a triangle. I talked about that. And as you move up the levels, right? Everyone's an all-star when they're young. They move up, and that all-star thing gets a little bit smaller. And then when you get to your level and beyond, it's like, it's a small number of players that are that good that can really be a solid contributor to your team each and every day.
Correct. Yeah. It's even tougher when they go to the higher levels like D1 or D2. They're not just going to get there and because what they did in high school or what they did, before that in travel ball, they have to be able to perform at that level that they're at currently.
Yeah, for sure. With all the success that you've had over the years, I mean, you've obviously had to have had some adversity here and there over 36 years and in all the games you've coached. How have you dealt with adversity? And then what would you tell your players or what would we tell our student athletes maybe about dealing with adversity?
Well, it's like our team this last weekend, we played Imperial Valley and they had a pitcher that was actually I think she was on the Mexican Olympic team. She was, I know, on the national team. And she was at a different level than our kids usually see. So what we told our kids all week, because we worked on it, is that they're going to have to battle every pitch. You can't do off because if you do, you're going to be behind or you're going to be out, So that was real adversity. That was probably the toughest first round of regional playoff out of the 30 that we've gone or 32. It was pretty stressful for not just for me, but it was for our players. I told them today because we had out for lunch because we played this weekend. I said, it's too bad that you guys had to deal with that, so much pressure and so much stress in the first round, but hopefully that'll make us better in the next round coming up this weekend against Palomar. But, we've had, not too much adversity. We've had tough opponents, and stuff. The year that we went 48-0, that was a different kind of pressure because once we became 24-0 and then we became 30-0, now it became a thing. Now I had to coach a little bit differently and the team had to buy in and they did buy in. It was like I didn't start some subs that normally I would give people a day off and give them. And the subs, I told them what we were trying to do, and they were, once we got towards the end, they were all in, and that was a little bit of adversity, just trying to complete that season. Once we got to the playoffs, undefeated. Now we didn't want to have that loss come in the state finals where you're 46-2, you lost the state championship, but we ended up being the 48-0 team, so it worked out.
Yeah, first time in state history, right, that a team went undefeated the whole year?
Yeah, it was first time in state history, and we haven't really found anything in the NCAA at any level that anybody has been undefeated. So it's not only in the state of California, but I'm pretty sure there's not a lot that's happened anywhere in the United States where an association, someone in the college ranks has gone undefeated.
Yeah, especially that many games. I mean, it's an unbelievable accomplishment. One of many that you've had. Again, over 1,400 wins, 23 conference titles, 9 state titles. You're a National Fast Pitch Coaches Association Hall of Fame member. I mean, what else is there for you to accomplish, and how do you stay motivated with all that success?
I'm just, like everybody says, we're dialed into numbers, and I've been at Cypress such a long time. Your numbers, and we've had a pretty good program, so your numbers are going to increase. And the Hall of Fame stuff was a great honor, but we're in a number oriented. As a coach, everything's done around numbers, and there's probably tons of coaches that should be in the Hall of Fame that just because they haven't won as much aren't, and that's probably not fair, but that's just our society the way it is. But motivationally, I just have a good time trying to push the buttons on these kids, and I'm still having fun. I taught for 42 years, and I retired as a teacher, and now I'm just a coach. And I don't make a lot of money anymore doing this, but it's still fun. It gets me out of the house, gets me out of my wife's hair a little bit, and as long as I'm still having fun and I have some pitching, I'm going to probably do it for a few more years.
Yeah, you got to have the pitchers for sure. And you mentioned earlier, kind of talking about recruiting the kids and character, and we hear a lot of times that debate over what's important, right? A kid with a lot of talent or a kid with a lot of character. And we know talent matters, but how important is that person's character to their success or maybe potential success in your program?
Character is a big part of it, and we call it heart. A kid that has a lot of heart. And you as a coach in basketball, I know that you'll take that kid that's going to run, take that charge and do whatever you ask him to do, rather than the guy that doesn't want to play any defense and score 50 points. When you get that kid that scores 50 points, buys in, and also plays defense for you, now you got the all-around guy. But when we talk to teams, that the coaches that we talk to, the high school coaches, and they'll tell you, this kid's either a good kid or this kid's all about themselves. So what we've been trying to do lately is, I'm saying lately, that's probably the last 5 or 6 years, we're trying to get the more character loaded kid than the talent kid. But don't kid yourself. You have to have talent. If you don't have talent, you're not going to go out there and win a lot of games if you don't have the right players in the right position. So I've never said my success has always been my assistant coaches have always been good, and I've always had good players. But I think part of getting those good players is myself going out there recruiting and seeing those kids and trying to get the talented kids that do have some character. We will take those kids that are a little harder to coach, and we've been pretty successful just having them buy into our system, and we've ended up getting those kids to play hard, whether they're not a great student or they're just not a great teammate. When we get them, somehow we've kind of turned that corner, and we've tried to get those kids to be good in the classroom and at the same time be a good teammate.
Yeah, and obviously you've done well, very well. And part of the key to being a successful coach is that ability to communicate and to motivate those athletes that you have. And how important has it been for you over the years to instill that communication skills to your team?
We communicate with our players every single day. We don't let things fester. If one kid's having a problem with another kid, I'll bring them both into my office. It's a little uncomfortable for the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then say, hey, what's going on here? Why do you and you not get along, and what's the problem? And I think I have a way. That's one of the better things I do, is that somehow I get these kids that I can motivate them a little bit and say, hey, you know what? Even though not in front of the team, you were 1 for 6 last week. We need you to be 3 for 6 or 4 for 6. And, you made a couple, you weren't on point on defense. I think you're better than that, and a lot of that is just having some belief in your kids. And they love that term when you say, hey, I believe in you, because that gives them the positive feedback. So we kind of sometimes stroke their ego, and sometimes we try to push them and say, hey, you know what? You weren't the best last week. You got to get better this week, and do what it takes to put us over the edge.
Yeah, those 4 words are super powerful. I believe in you, right? I mean, that's
Right.
such a powerful short statement, a great motivational tool. In your time as coach, has there been any other motivational tools that you've used to try to help your players?
Yeah, we have. Back in the day, way back when, this was back when Major League was a movie, and none of these kids now will understand what we're talking about. But they had that guy they brought into the clubhouse, and they kept taking a piece of his uniform off every time they won a game. So we had a baseball player that actually did that. He took a picture in just his shorts, and then we took a picture of him in his uniform, and we cut it into 17 pieces because we had to win 15 out of our last 17 to go to the playoffs. And so we got on a roll, and we went in there, and the kids loved it. We took off a piece, we took off another piece, we took off another piece, so little stuff like that. And, food motivates them. Days off of practice will motivate them. If you don't have to run at practice is a huge motivator, and less conditioning. So we've tried almost everything. And sometimes I even asked them, I think there was one time this year, I said, we had a big game versus Santa Ana. And I said, what would motivate you guys to really want to win this game? And then they came up with some ideas too.
Very cool. Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes a certain mentality to be successful, and to have those things push you to be a better player. As coach, try to motivate and things like that. And some people say, the mentality is either there with the kid, a successful mentality, or maybe it's something that can be learned. Do you have a feeling either way? Is it something that a kid has, or do you think you can teach them some sort of a successful mentality?
I think most of them have it, but I think some of them you have to get them mentally into the game a little more, the mental aspect of it, and really talk to them about it. Because one-on-one, it's usually pretty easy to talk to somebody and say, hey, what do you think about this situation? You're not going to get to all of them, but most of them, I think you can help them with that mental part of the game. That this is, have a plan when you go up to the plate. What are you going to do when the ball is hit to you? Just simple stuff like that they were taught years ago. And most of these kids, because they've played travel ball and they've played high school ball for so long, that has been taught to them somewhere. And I think you just have to reinforce those at times.
Well, Coach, a lot of success. That's been one of the themes of it. So let's kind of sum it up here. What is success to you, and how do you measure it? It could be like, is it wins, or is it, how do you measure a successful season for you?
Well, when we get every group of new athletes, we talk about that, and we break it into different sections. Okay, when we start our conference, we want to be a conference champion. Okay, because that's what our expectations are. And then when we're a conference champion, now we go to the playoffs, and we want to get through the region and the super regional. And once we've done that, now you make it to the state championships, which is 4 teams from the north and 4 teams from the south. And if we get there, then our final goal is to win a state championship, and we've been to the state finals, I want to say 28 times. So it's not really an unrealistic goal. And the kids that come to Cypress, one of our recruiting things that we tell them is, if you come here, you're probably going to have a chance to play for a state championship. And it's not just blowing smoke. It's our record. We've done that. And it's not that we're cocky and we think we're going to win all the time, because we know it's going to be a battle. But those are our expectations. That first we start with conference, then we expect to make it to the playoffs, and then we hope to make it to the state championship.
Well, very cool. We're at the point of the program here, Coach, where we do a little rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I'm going to fire out some questions for you. Don't overthink them. Quick, short answers. Let me know what you think. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Good. Are you a better coach or a bowler?
I'm going with coach, because I'm not the greatest bowler, so I have to put coach. Even though I'm a better bowler than our other bowling coach, who is Mr. Al-Hadif, and I have to put him in there because he's our basketball coach, and he's always told me he's the best athlete on our campus. But I'm telling him that, hey, you got a 67-year-old guy, you're 37, and I can out bowl you 5 days out of the week and probably on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, if you're a good bowler, at least a little, do you know what a Greek church is?
I know the Greek church is some kind of split, but I want to say it's the 5-7-10. But that might be the sour apple. Tell me what the Greek church
that
is.
Might be the sour apple. I hear the Greek church is the 4-6-7-9-10 split. I have no idea what that means. I just throw the ball as hard as I can when I'm out there.
Right. Well, I would like to try to get the Greek church. I mean, I know the 7-10 split. I don't know what it's called, but it's pretty dang hard. But I'd like to see when I go to the bowling alley tomorrow, I'm going to have them set up the Greek church and I'm going to give it a shot.
There you go. Get that on video so we can see it.
I will do that. I will do that.
All right. Finish this phrase out. Successful people have this one trait. What is that?
The ability to compete. Okay. I think if you are successful, whether you're in business, you're going to compete. Whether you're playing golf against Coach Weber, I'm going to compete against him. He might be a better golfer, but I'm going to get into his head and I'm going to try to compete with that guy. If I'm playing ping pong with David Fletcher at my house, I'm going to compete, even though he's given me 14 points and then I only have to score 7. But I think people that like to compete, somehow they figure things out. And I think that's a big word.
Yeah, easy to get in Coach Weber's head. I'm sure you beat him plenty.
I love getting in Coach Weber's head.
What's your most embarrassing moment?
My most embarrassing moment on the softball field is I had a player that I wrote her number down wrong, and she hit a double. And then the other team realized I had written the number down wrong, and they came over to me and said, "Hey, that's the wrong number. She's going to be out." And then having to tell that player that she just hit a double was, just to get her to understand that was a little tough, and it was a little embarrassing on my part. So and the other thing is that's embarrassing a little bit is working with you and everybody on this computer stuff, because I'm so I can't even say the word, but I'm challenged. Okay. I'm challenged when it comes to computers and all that stuff. And my kids laugh at me because I've never been to a ATM machine. Don't know what it is. And I don't have Venmo. Like I said to somebody, I know what Bevmo is, but I don't know what Venmo is.
Yeah, the behind the scenes, if we could have taped all the behind the scenes portion of getting this show running,
right.
That would have been the comedy show of the century.
No kidding. No kidding. Just don't tell anybody. My wife saves me all the time.
She does. She helped out today. Oh, I got to ask about cheers. So at softball, there's all those cheers. Are you in charge of those cheers in the dugout? Do you guys have cheers?
Our team does have some cheers. I'm not a cheer guy. There's teams out there that have a whole set routine, what they do every single game. I'm more of a baseball type approach where the guys are just getting into the game and, pumping up the batter, maybe razzing the pitcher a little bit if she's getting a little heated out there, the opposing pitcher. But no, I've never been a big cheer guy. I've never taught them a cheer, and anything that they bring to the dugout, they've done that on their own.
What's the best nickname any player's ever given you?
I'm going to go with Hercules because, I used to take batting practice, and, the natural, Babe Ruth, whatever, all those good things come up. Now it's Mike Trout, but I can't hit like Mike Trout anymore. I used to be able to hit, but I can't hit anymore.
What's your favorite victory food?
Favorite victory food is probably In-N-Out. After every road trip, we go to In-N-Out. If we make it to the state championship, we go to a place called Tahoe Joe's, and we eat steak and shrimp and salad and baked potato and all the fixings. But that's only if we make it to the state championship. But pretty much road trips, it's a successful road trip if we're having In-N-Out afterwards.
Do you have a victory dance?
I have a jig, like I've told some people, but no, I don't have a victory dance. My ex-coach, Coach Bloss, who's now at Laverne College, he had a slap dance that he did after the state championship. And one day I'll get you the pictures for those, but it was, he's got some Guamanian blood in him, and he did a understand it until she found out it was just a festive way to make things. It was a happy thing. It wasn't anything towards that was bad. But it was pretty awesome when he did it. He took his shirt off, which was quite a sight to see to begin with, and then he did this slap dance.
I'm sure your players have walk-up songs. Can you name any of their walk-up songs?
No, I don't think I can name any of those walk-up songs. My music and their music is definitely different. So I have a set that we play when all the fans get there, and then there's a set of music that we let the girls play until the fans get there, because I don't even know what they're saying most of the time.
What would be your walk-up song?
Mine would be "Who Let the Dogs Out," or "Fantasy." Fantasy would probably be one of my ones. "Who Let the Dogs Out," Fantasy. I've had 37 years of highlight tapes, or 36 years. I've had more than 37. Because when I coached basketball and softball, on every highlight video I had was Earth, Wind, and Fire, Fantasy. I love that song. Great song.
Coach, one last question for you. So a lot of people don't know you used to referee basketball as well. So what's tougher, coaching in the championship final or reffing a game with Coach Russell coaching at Cypress High?
Definitely coaching, definitely refereeing a basketball game for Coach Russell. I mean, I remember I had a championship game back in, what year was that, Coach? You remember?
I think it was 2004. It was probably the greatest game that I've ever been a part of, and you were on that game. It was a pretty special game for us.
Right, and I remember doing that game, and it was a packed house at Orange Lutheran High School, and I think your guy hit a turnaround jumper with, seconds left, and he banked it in. But the best part of that whole day was, and I probably can't say what I'm going to say, is one of your guys, somebody went over the back of one of your guys, and I didn't get that call. And you said, I was running by your sidelines, and you said, "Hey, that guy was over the back. If we lose this game by 2 points, I'm going to kick your butt." And I said, "I probably deservedly so." But that was the highlight of my refereeing career. That was one of the best games. It was so loud in that gym, and when you guys won that championship, it was crazy good. That was so much fun. I mean, we had a lot of friends that came to that game just to watch the game.
Yeah, for sure. I don't believe I said that. I don't remember that. So I'm saying I didn't, but that was definitely one of the best games. But
and you actually didn't say "kick my butt." You used another word, but we can't use that right now.
Well, Coach, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us, sharing some insight on how to be successful and kind of how you do things. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for being here.
Perfect. And I enjoy you guys and Cypress Centurions. Good sports programs over there, and you should be proud of what you guys do over there, because your high school program is always top notch. Everything you guys do. Hey Jeff, this is the great church. We're going to try to get it right now.
Well, thank you very much, Coach. And for everyone else, hey, don't forget to share this on your social media. Tag us. If you have any questions, go to our website. We're going to be starting some clearance for next year. So check out the website, get that information, and get out and watch the spring sports as they finish up CIF. And we'll see you guys next week when we welcome Rob Wygod, CIF Commissioner. So thanks again, and we'll see you next week.